Head of Customer Care at SZV talks about their new My SZV account. Member of Parliament for the PFP queries the payments made by BTP to government. And charter member of the St. Martin Lions Club, Frank Arnell, gives history of the club. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020. Season's greetings, everyone. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for tuning in this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, the St. Martin's Lions Club will be celebrating their 50th anniversary on Saturday, December the 12th, 2020. The St. Martin chapter was founded back on December the 12th, 1970. One of its founding members, Mr. Frank Arnell, spoke to our news department about how he became a Lions member.
Was invited to one of their meetings. One of the things that used to happen years ago was that Mr. Donnie Buckhouse, that name might not say anything to you, but he was one of the auditors that came from Curacao from time to time, maybe 2-3 times a year, used to come and control the books of the government. And he talked to me about Lions, talked to a person like Ben Vlon, who he knew from Curacao, about Lionism. And when they actually got a group of people together, I was invited to that meeting. And that's how I became a founding member, which is referred to by Lionism as a chartered member.
Okay. Okay, good. Talk to us about a little bit more history. Ben Vlon, talk to us about Ben Vlon.
Ben was the first president, and one of the initiators of the group for that meeting, which we held at the on the French side of the island, over at Grand Saint-Martin. We had a couple of meetings there. We even was chartered there at Le Grand Saint-Martin. It was a very popular hotel in those days, and we met over there. They asked me for what reason, why we were meeting over there instead on that side. I can't say. But at the time, nobody worried about French at that side. We needed a meeting place, and you just went to the French side and you held your meeting. And so we met there and decided that, yes, we would form a club. The brother of Phonse O'Connor used to be the postmaster and among other functions that he held here in Phillipsburg at the time. And his brother lived in Curacao, who was also an active Lion. And together with Donnie Buckhouse, they came to St. Martin and started the club. Although Curacao Lions Club initiated the finding of the St. Martin Lions Club, we were chartered by the Bonaire Lions Club, and they were responsible for our club. And it's 50 years ago. Sometimes I can hardly believe it's 50 years ago that Lionism existed or exists on the island. We know that over 50 years, groups, organizations, they come and go, and you wonder sometimes, what has happened to such an organization?
And also speaking to our news department was Lion Louis Peters, who served as president for 2 consecutive years. According to Lion Lou Peters, he told us how he was introduced to the Lions Club and why he became a member.
Introduction to Lionism on St. Martin was through Ben Vlon. It was, I don't know how, but one particular day I visited Carablumba, and Ben turned to me and said, "Lou, would you like to be a member of the Lions Club?" My first reaction to Ben, what do they do? Okay? Almost no. And then after that, he explained to me what they do in the community. I think the point that really grabbed me was he said, after you finish working the day, wouldn't you like to know you did something for St. Martin, for the people of St. Martin? I thought about it, and I thought about it. I said, okay, Ben, I'll come in. When? He said, come Tuesday night. And he told me where. At that time, when I joined the Lions Club, this is now maybe after they were there about 3 or 4 years. But I was inducted into the Lions Club when they were actively attending meetings at the pot rum industry, which is the pot rum factory. It was the meeting room of the pot rum factory. But getting back to the activities of the Lions Club, I guess I was, and being in an organization, you become active, and by being active, you become curious. Being active meant I attended meetings, we headed our committees, we encouraged different activities, and if it's something you like, you get involved. The thing that interested me at that time was the senior citizen activities, and that really, it was something I looked forward to, because the concept of when people get at a certain age, to just sit back at home doing nothing, waiting to die, scared me.
And we will have more with Lion members Frank Harnell and Lois Peters in tomorrow's edition of SXM Daily News. And in other news at this time, WIFL members of Porto Cooper, the Towers at Mullet Bay, and Great Bay Beach Hotel stood in a silent protest in front of the Government Administration Building yesterday, awaiting an urgent meeting with Minister of Labour, Richard Panafleck. President of the Windward Islands Chamber of Labour Unions, Mrs. Claire Elshot, speaking to our news department, gave us a synopsis of what took place.
Actually, it was a silent protest. The fact that these workers have been suffering for a long time without having the rightful treatment of their employers according to the labor laws, we thought it was fit to actually go to the building, demand a meeting with the minister, which was then given to us at 3 p.m. yesterday, and also to discuss so that we know how far we are and to really make sure that the issues pertaining to these workers and the type of violation and abuse is brought to the attention of the persons in labor office, and that they know that the urgency that is being expected in handling these cases. Now, in the meeting yesterday, it became actually clear the work that even the mediator did with regards to the Mullet Bay Towers workers. So the meetings that was held with or without the unions, with management, and we know that the mediator is going to prepare a report. We also know of documents that have been signed off on behalf of the workers. So that process is for us very important, as the workers are just in limbo. They did not have a salary since October, I believe, October and November. So when we heard that in the negotiations or in the mediation with management, they were told that this is illegal, even though they're coming with proposals of what would have to be, to actually terminate the working relationship and the payout, etc., and those proposals, of which the union do not agree with the proposal of management. The point is they have to pay the workers what is due to them.
And as we continue now, the St. Martin Hospitality and Trade Association, the SHTA, and the St. Martin Tourism Bureau, STB, has congratulated Copa Airlines on resuming its flights to St. Martin. Copa Airlines resumed weekly flights as of Friday, November the 20th, but will increase frequency during the second week of December to 4 times weekly. Prior to Copa's return, the SHTA and the St. Martin Tourist Bureau organized a digital marketing event with 234 travel agencies from across South America participating. The webinar provided insights in the ongoing tourism recovery of the destination, as well as health protocols for travelers to St. Martin. Travel agents asked live questions to an online 7-person SHTA and STB panel. The event is the second in a series where St. Martin Tourism Partners collaborated with airlines to stimulate the recovery of St. Martin. I commend the efforts of St. Martin Tourist Bureau and all stakeholders involved with having taken an active role in ensuring that our airlift numbers continue to increase. As governments all over the world continue to deal with the realities of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, a safe St. Martin remains our main goal in order for the economy to return to pre-pandemic levels, stated Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Ludmila De Wever. And still to come, Member of Parliament for the NA queries the broadband capacity for St. Martin. And we'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue in this evening's newscast, the House of Parliament sat in a Central Committee meeting yesterday, Monday, December the 7th, 2020, with the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunications to discuss the financial status of the Bureau, Telecommunications and Post St. Martin. The meeting was requested by MP Sarah Westcott-Williams, MP MD Melissa Gums, MP C.A. Buncamper, Claudius Buncamper, and MP G.S. Grisha Heiliger Martin. MP for the National Alliance, Angelique Remou, queried the financial status of Bureau Telecommunications. In her presentation, the MP asked several questions relating to the broadband capacity and what is the average household broadband usage and frequency, the allocation within broadband spectrum, and how was it allocated to the citizens of St. Martin.
What, if you could explain, is St. Martin's current broadband capacity? What is the average household broadband usage on the island? What is St. Martin's frequency allocation within broadband spectrum? And how was it allocated to us, the citizens of St. Martin? And does this allocation meet the island's current and long-term needs? With the world moving to 5G, what plans does BTP have for scaling St. Martin's telecommunications network to meet increased demands for online remote learning, e-commerce, cloud networks, and more smart devices in the homes? Could BTP, through you, Honorable Chairman, explain how the different telecom segments, for example, television, radio, navigation, mobile, computer networks operate? How are they regulated and distributed for St. Martin, both for public and the private sector? You mentioned in your presentation that you protect consumer interests. With the growing concern for data ownership and protection, what policies or laws are in place from BTP that protect St. Martin's people when it comes to their data in the global telecommunication industry? Do we adhere to the GDPR? Also, can you explain how the fiber optics work and what is the benefit of this system for reliability and efficiency of data streaming? Are there any power losses using this method? As we know, COVID has struck us, and with remote work, how has this affected St. Martin's broadband capacity? Have you encountered any changes?
Also speaking at the meeting was MP for the U.S. party, Claudia Stoncher-Buncamper, who wanted to know if they could get an assessment of the internet services provided on the island, especially by TALEM, the government-owned company, and if they ever conducted one such assessment, and if PDP cannot provide such, can we get an independent outside assessment done to understand what TALEM is actually doing on this island?
I'd like to know if we can ask BTP for an assessment of the internet services provided on this island by especially TALEM, the government-owned company, and we would like to know if they have ever conducted one such assessment. And if BTP cannot provide one of these or cannot do this, can we get an independent outside assessment done to understand what TALEM is actually truly doing on this island? BTP is our telecommunications regulator. What exactly are they regulating? So I would like to know what they are exactly regulating at this point in time. Not what's written, but what they're actually doing. Is BTP successful in collecting the subscriber fees from the providers? I know we have TALEM, I know we have UTS, and I know they have a few other smaller ones. And if they are not, why not? This question has to do also specifically with BTP now asking for $700 and something thousand to just meet the end of the year. So why did that change? Is BTP up to date with its payments to government? They said they paid $4 million, but is that being up to date? If not, why not? And when can we expect this to be regulated? How far is BTP with the completion of the drop-down code .SX for St. Martin? Is it a completed project or is it still an ongoing project? Do we have any studies or information as to the economic disadvantages to the country by not completing the drop-down code for the country? Is the moratorium on telecommunication licenses still in effect? Or can people go and apply for telecommunication licenses? Has BTP done any research, or does it have any proposed plan which considers having one telecommunication infrastructure that can be shared by the current telecommunication companies and any future additions to telecommunications? What would be the benefit and or disadvantages of such a system? And has such a system been discussed with the stakeholders?
And then MP for the PFP, Melissa Gums, asked about the payments made by BTP to government. She wanted to know, was this amount for the year 2020 or was it a backlog of payments meant for government?
Regarding the payment made this year by BTP to government, was this amount for year 2020 or was it a collection of a backlog of payments meant for government? I ask this because in its 10-10-10 report, the General Audit Chamber made note that as per the Minister of Finance's memo of August 4, 2020, no concession fee transfers had been received by government from BTP since 2017, while the norm would have been for government to receive these payments on a quarterly basis. So just if that could be clarified. And Recommendation 8 from the 2013 General Audit Chamber report on BTP mentioned terminating the previous temporary arrangement regarding transfers to government and to instead act in compliance with Article 21 of the National Ordinance BTP. Now, considering you stated here that in 2020, as I mentioned, you did transfer $4 million in concessions, can this recommendation be considered fulfilled, or will it be fulfilled? And further to that, I'd like to know what steps are being taken to address the remaining recommendations from that same report by BTP and the Ministry of TEAD collectively. You also mentioned, through you, Mr. Chair, that BTP made some payments on behalf of government to certain entities. And considering that the process, as outlined in Audit Chamber's 2013 report, was for BTP to collect fees, deduct costs, and then send the balance to government, are we to understand then that these payments on behalf of government were not deducted from the fees received prior to this 2020 transfer, and so have thus contributed to BTP's loss? And finally, for now, what are the profiles for supervisory board candidates with regards to competencies, sector experience, and any other criterion? And were those profiles prepared in collaboration with the Ministry of TEAD?
Now, turning to our weather forecast for December the 8th, 2020, stable weather conditions will persist across the region. However, pockets of moisture drifting with the trade winds will produce some brief showers. A high surf advisory is now in effect for St. Martin as long period swells move into the local waters from the northeast. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution. So the outlook through Thursday midday, fair to partly cloudy with a few brief local showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Head of Customer Care at SZV talks about their new My SZV account. And I'll have the detail to that story when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue with SXM Daily News for this evening, in this COVID update, as of December the 7th, there were 16 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, there was a recovery rate of 13 persons, bringing the total active cases to 99. The total number of confirmed cases is now 1,155. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 94 people in home isolation. 5 patients are currently hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center, and the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 26. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 1,030. 189 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS of persons who may have been in contact with any of the active cases. The Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Airport Health Team, in collaboration with the Healthcare Laboratory St. Martin, HCLS, has tested 1,574 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport, and CPS has tested 8,306 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. To further control the spread of the virus, Minister Pontifex urges all to take the mandatory guidelines implemented more seriously. It is your civil responsibility to protect yourself and your loved ones. Continue to wear your mask, maintain a social distance of 2 meters, practice good health hygiene, and be cautious when in large gatherings. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, in our continuing series with our health insurance providers, SZV, which has announced that they are going cardless, Head of the Customer Care Department, Mrs. Orianda Hundervangers Royer, spoke to our news department about the My SZV account, which she is very excited about.
Right, so like we were talking about before, the employers have their own portal. The healthcare providers, so doctor, lab, etc., hospital, they have their own portal as well. And now the most exciting portal, I would like to say, we also have available for our ZV insured. So basically anyone that is working, that is currently under the wage limit, working the 5 to 6 day work week, those persons now have the option, the privilege, I'd like to say, of signing up or registering for a My SZV account. Right now, the My SZV is not for our retired civil servants, so not for the FZOG insured. It is not for those recipients of medical aid, so persons that obtain their insurance card via social services. Those persons cannot be on the portal right now, hopefully in the future or not, but for the time being, it's just for ZV insured and for our 62 plus insured. And in order to register for an account, you can go to My SZV. There's two options right to the top. You will see register for an account or log in to your account. That's assuming you have an account, of course. And the registration process is relatively simple. There's a 2-page process. On the first page, we collect your information, including your SZV ID number and your SZV card number. Those numbers can be found on the front of your insurance card, so whether it's expired or not, you can use the numbers that are on the front of your SZV card. And we ask that the clients be mindful of the fact that the information should be properly submitted, so double check that you spelled your name correctly, that you use the right date of birth, not the date of today, for example. That's a mistake we see often. And then on the second page, you can upload your valid St. Martin ID or valid passport. So it's important to mention that we don't recognize the driver's license as a valid ID. Yeah, unfortunately.
But you can use your ID or you can use your passport.
Passport, correct. So you could, not your driver's license. So we don't recognize the driver's license as a valid form of ID, and neither the SZV card. So some persons tend to send a picture of their SZV card. That's not what we need. All we need is your valid St. Martin ID or your valid passport. Once the identification that you choose to submit is valid, you can proceed. If everything is correct, filled in correctly, and we can see the picture that you uploaded of your valid St. Martin ID or passport, and all is in place, we will send you, or you will receive an email where you see that you applied for an account, etc., and then you can activate the link, and then you proceed to log in. You can proceed to log in with your personal email address and your password. And the email address that you use, it should not be linked to your employer. So it really has to be a personal email address, and also an email address that is only yours. So not shared with your spouse or a child or whatever the case may be. No, it really has to be personal to you.
And SXM Daily News will have more with the head of the customer care at SZV in tomorrow's edition of our broadcast. And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.